Wang Lin's ferocity exceeded the expectations of the four green demon emissaries. None of them had imagined that after receiving the Heavenly Ox's recognition, he would erupt with such overwhelming power. This level of cultivation was enough to obliterate those at the mid-void tribulation stage and was infinitely close to the late void tribulation stage. No wonder this is the immortal firmament continent. If I were still in the abode realm and possessed such Heavenly Ox soul armor, neither the rainbow Daoist nor that war ghost would be my match. Wang Lin sighed with deep emotion. In such a strange and wondrous immortal firmament continent, there must be a way to awaken Xun'er. His eyes grew resolute. As he watched the two scorpions retreat frantically, a cold smile curved at his lips. He stepped forward, pursuing them without hesitation. The scorpions fled quickly, but Wang Lin's pursuit was even faster. With a single step, the earth trembled, closing the distance in an instant. His right hand lifted, his eyes flashing with an eerie brilliance. "Soul subjugation seal," he declared, thrusting his finger forward. At that command, the heavens above the extreme heaven grasslands changed dramatically. Clouds instantly dispersed, light was banished, and in their place, a colossal palm imprint emerged, vast as the entire grassland, its depth unfathomable, impossible to perceive fully. The palm imprint howled downward, engulfing the sun, replacing the sky itself, as though a giant hand from beyond the heavens had descended to slap the earth into ruin. Even halfway through its descent, its thickness remained unseen. This strike was world-shaking. Yet what was bizarre was that this palm imprint, seemingly ordinary with distinct fingerprints, suddenly began to ripple with countless fissures. Layers of skin-like sheaths tore open, as if a sealing veil that once bound it had reached its limit and collapsed. When the seal shattered, the palm imprint that reappeared was nearly the same size, but its form had transformed drastically. It no longer bore 5 fingers, but 6. The 6th finger was blood red, with an unervingly long nail, its color in stark, horrifying contrast to the black palm and the other 5 fingers. Now, the imprint seemed to embody the fusion of Tao and demon, that 6th finger unmistakably a demon's claw. On the grasslands below, over 1,000 cultivators from the Green Devil continent stared in shock and terror. Their bodies trembled violently, despair erupting uncontrollably in their hearts. Even the 2 female cultivators at the early void tribulation stage shuddered. At the sight of the imprint, they instinctively unleashed their strongest defensive techniques and activated their most powerful protective treasures, caring nothing for others, only consumed with the desperate thought of surviving this terrifying strike. Zhang Daozong's expression froze, disbelief filling his eyes as he gazed at the palm. The Dao Demon Great Handprint. This is the Dao Demon Great Handprint, and it has awakened the 6th finger. This is my Dao Demon sect's supreme secret art, the ultimate technique never to be passed down lightly. Only successive sect masters may grasp it. No one else could ever learn it, much less allow it to leak beyond the sect. But this Wang Lin, how can he possibly wield this seal? Elder Zhao's eyes likewise widened in shock. Without hesitation, he flicked his sleeve, enveloping himself in a layer of ethereal mist while his hands formed seals in rapid succession, unleashing every defensive technique he knew. In that same instant, the transformed palm imprint roared downward and slammed into the earth. The moment it landed, the ground of the extreme heaven grasslands collapsed entirely. The 1,000-plus cultivators of the Green Devil continent were the first to perish, utterly powerless before this strike. Physical and spiritual annihilation. A single palm slaughtered 1,000. Even Wang Lin, who had unleashed it, was briefly stunned by its devastating power. But it was not over yet. The 2 women at the early void tribulation stage, despite unleashing every technique and treasure at their disposal, still spat blood as the palm descended. Their bodies faltered, their organs ruptured, and though their essence spirits barely sustained them, their flesh could not endure. Moments later, their physical bodies exploded, leaving only their essence spirits behind. Zhang Daozong and Elder Zhao likewise spat blood, their faces turning deathly pale under the crushing might. And beneath them, the 4 green demon emissaries seated cross-legged on the ground shuddered violently, blood seeping from the corners of their mouths. Yet thanks to the green mirror suspended above them, their injuries were not as severe, but beneath them, the two green demon scorpions could not withstand it. As the palm imprint struck the earth, it generated an incredibly terrifying shockwave, shaking the ground and causing the two scorpions to be shattered and torn apart in a horrific roar right in front of Wang Lin. They exploded into pieces. This is the true soul subjugation seal. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with excitement. His body swayed, and in the blink of an eye, he shot upwards towards the surface. His speed was so fast that he was nearly upon the surface in an instant, causing the entire extreme heaven grasslands to tremble. Just as he was about to break through, the two green demon emissaries, whose scorpions had died and sprayed blood, displayed fear on their icy faces. "We cannot let him rise." The four of them roared almost simultaneously. As green demon emissaries, they could communicate with each other through their thoughts. Fear overwhelmed them all. As they shouted, they pressed their hands onto the earth and slammed their foreheads forcefully onto the ground with a loud thud. This action was like a deep bow, but it was precisely this bow that caused the green mirror above them to emit a sharp whistle. It fell to the earth, and as it descended, the mirror stretched and expanded, instantly covering the entire extreme heaven grasslands. "Please, green demon scorpion soul, suppress this man." The four of them spoke in unison, their voices merging as one. As the mirror touched the earth, the entire extreme heaven grasslands abruptly transformed. The vast grasslands disappeared, and the earth turned into countless swamps. Even the surrounding mountains vanished without a trace. Everything in this place became the landscape of the Green Devil continent. Whether it was an illusion or reality didn't matter. At this moment, the extreme heaven grasslands could be seen as disappearing from the Heavenly Bull continent and appearing in the Green Devil continent. Or rather, it hadn't vanished at all. Instead, the Green Devil continent had descended upon the extreme heaven grasslands, casting an entire continent's projection upon this place due to the mirror's power. With this projection, they sought to suppress him. At the same time, Zhang Daozong, Elder Zhao, and the other two female cultivators, whose essence spirits were barely hanging on under the pressure of the soul subjugation seal, all sank into the swamp, unleashing all of their cultivation power. Together with the four green demon emissaries, they carried out the suppression. They knew that if they failed to suppress Wang Lin, who had received the Heavenly Bull's approval, a terrifying fate would await them. The Heavenly Bull envoy of the Heavenly Bull continent uses a different method from ours. They can temporarily access peak power, but it's only short-lived. Although we don't know how long it lasts, it certainly won't be too long. As long as we suppress him until the time passes, once he returns to his normal cultivation, we can kill him, one of the green demon emissaries screeched. At his roar, Zhang Daozong and the others felt as if they had been infused with infinite strength and hope. They furiously released their cultivation, intensifying the suppression. The earth rumbled, sending loud booms through the air. With every tremor, the faces of everyone grew paler. Yet it was Wang Lin, deep underground, continuing to strike upwards, trying to break free from the suppression of the Green Devil continent's projection and burst out. World incinerating umbrella. Wang Lin, clad in his dark armor, made a hand seal, summoning numerous prohibitions. As a result, a massive fire umbrella appeared in the sky above the suppressed earth of the Green Devil continent's projection. The umbrella opened, and a sea of raging flames immediately descended, as if trying to burn away the projection and the entire world. In the firestorm, the two female cultivators at the early void tribulation stage let out piercing screams, but they gritted their teeth and held on, summoning their life-bound treasures to counteract the flames. Together, their combined strength fought back fiercely. The world incinerating umbrella didn't change like the Seven Colors spear or the soul subjugation seal had, but it was much more powerful than before. However, it still fell short when compared to the spear and the seal. This technique looked strong, but in reality, even that madman only learned the basics. Even with my current cultivation, I can't unleash its full power. Or perhaps, this technique isn't as strong as I imagined. This is already its limit, Wang Lin thought to himself. Now, I'll test my self-created divine power. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with a strange light. Below the earth, he raised his right hand, and suddenly waved it upwards. Instantly, the earth before his eyes blurred, replaced by a vast, angry sea. This scene, even in the eyes of the 4 green demon emissaries, was the same. The sea spread wildly, and the fire umbrella above them suddenly vanished, replaced by an impenetrable darkness. This darkness radiated endless coldness, and the howling winds swallowed up Zhang Daozong and the others. From the eastern part of the dark sky, a golden-red line of light suddenly shot up, and a newborn blazing sun slowly emerged. This power could tear apart all darkness, shatter every shadow draped across heaven and earth. At the beginning, when Wang Lin first touched upon it, he was still ignorant. Its creation had been little more than chance. Yet now, within that blazing sun, he beheld an astonishing sight. The sight left him frozen in place. Even though it belonged to him, Wang Lin could not discern what this aura truly was. He only felt vaguely that this aura was the very foundation of the Remnant Night technique, the source of the primordial power, or perhaps the embodiment of his own conviction. That conviction was the belief to tear through the night, the resolve to break free from mediocrity, and above all, the defiance of heaven itself. If the night were seen as layer upon layer of shackles pressing upon him, if the night were the rules of this world, reducing men to mere ants, if the night were countless mountains crushing down upon Wang Lin's body, then the power to rend apart the night was rebellion incarnate. Without a heart set against heaven, no one could ever create such a divine ability. Without a thought so impossible to abandon, one that he refused to relinquish at any cost, no such ability could ever exist. At first, Wang Lin had not understood. But now, as he glimpsed that aura within the blazing sun, a faint clarity came over him. He understood why he could create Remnant Night. Because he could not let go of Li Muan. Because he refused to abandon her. For her sake, he would tear apart the night that veiled her world. For her sake, he would not allow the night to blind his eyes ever again. This was Remnant Night. It was the divine art Wang Lin created for Li Muan. Though from its very birth until now it bore no direct connection to her, in Wang Lin's heart, in his Dao heart, in his every pursuit, his persistence was carved clearly into this first divine ability he had ever created. Within that blazing sun, he could almost see his Xun'er once more. To fight men, to fight beasts, to fight the earth, to fight the heavens, to fight the stars, to fight all creation, to fight even the immortal firmament. All of it was the night. Wang Lin's entire life had been dedicated to only one thing: to tear apart layer after layer of the night, blinding his eyes, and to seek the light beyond. This was Remnant Night. In the past, Wang Lin had not understood. His grasp had been hazy. But now, with the aid of the soul armor, with his present cultivation as he unleashed the Remnant Night technique, he faintly began to comprehend. This was the first spell he had ever created, and the only one that truly embodied his own conviction. It was fused with the persistence of his very soul, transcending Daoist arts to become a divine ability of its own. This divine ability was now indistinguishable from his body, his life, his belief. Wang Lin himself did not know what to call it, but Zhang Daozong and the others did. The instant the blazing sun erupted from the distant darkness, flooding the heavens and earth as though the world were drowning in a vast sea, every gaze locked upon that solitary light. When they saw the blazing sun, when they faintly perceived within it an indescribable aura, Zhang Daozong's face changed drastically. His body trembled, his eyes filled with disbelief. The appearance of that blazing sun, and the strange aura within it, exploded in his mind like millions of thunderclaps. This aura is... Zhang Daozong's face turned deathly pale, drained of all color, his expression twisted in horror. Beside him, Elder Zhao stared blankly at that faint, newborn aura within the blazing sun. Though weak, it persisted stubbornly, like the first breath of a rising sun. He forgot to breathe, his eyes wide with overwhelming terror. Compared to this, even if the entire heavenly bull continent perished in one night, it would not equal the dread he now felt. This is impossible, impossible. Could he be a reincarnation? The two female cultivators at the early void tribulation stage merely felt their hearts pound uneasily. They did not lose their composure like Zhang Daozong and Elder Zhao. They could not understand what this aura represented, but the four green demon emissaries did. The moment they saw the blazing sun, all four of their expressions changed drastically, their faces dark and grim, filled with terror and dread. This is a divine message art, beyond all spells and Daoist arts. Only a grand heavenly venerable can wield such a thing, divine message art. There is no mistake. That blazing sun contains belief itself. When belief surpasses a certain threshold, it gives birth to the strongest of all divine abilities, rarer and more powerful than Daoist arts, divine message art. Divine message arts can only be grasped by the 9 grand heavenly venerables. Legend says they cannot be passed down, cannot be inherited. Each one must be created anew by the venerable themselves. Who is this man? How could he possibly wield a divine message art? The belief within may still be faint. Divine message art, coming after Daoist arts, held power beyond words. This divine ability required only belief, not the kind of will born from a fire origin, but a conviction forged from one's own experiences and unyielding resolve. It was the final evolution of the conceptual realm. Will and belief were utterly different, separated like heaven and earth. Only when one's will grew powerful enough could it transform into belief, a relentless conviction that never turned back. This belief was not incense-fed worship. It was unwavering trust in oneself, in everything one had done, in the certainty that one could accomplish what one set out to do. Conceptual realm, origin source, belief. When the conceptual realm reached its peak, it could give birth to corresponding insights of origin. When origin was refined to its limit, it could take shape as a primordial origin avatar. If that avatar carried will within, it could transform into a true god. The reason it was called a true god lay in that will, superseding everything else. Yet even so, transforming again, reaching true perfection, was incredibly difficult. That perfection lay in the birth of belief. Spells, Daoist arts, divine message art. These 3 divine abilities marked 2 transformations of the conceptual realm. Spells aligned with the conceptual realm itself, Daoist arts aligned with origin, and divine message art aligned with belief. Yet this final tier, throughout all of time, only 9 grand heavenly venerables had ever reached. The rest could only gaze upward from beneath their feet. Remnant Night was created by Wang. Within it lay the entirety of his life, tearing open the darkness. A grand heavenly venerable could solidify spells into substance precisely because of their overwhelming belief, the power to create something from nothing. That ability to create from nothingness was the very foundation of every divine art a grand heavenly venerable wielded. On that vast earth, Wang sat with his eyes closed, yet he could see everything outside. In this moment, he seemed to exist within the blazing sun itself, as if he had become that very aura. He saw the ocean below, the people submerged within it, their faces stricken with terror. I believe you are part of this night. I believe you are among those who block my path. I believe, when the blazing sun ascends, you will vanish along with the night. I believe, beyond this night, there lies the light I've sought for thousands of years. I believe that light exists. It must exist. I believe. My hair is no longer black. The night gave me black hair, yet it now represents the light. My eyes are no longer black. They hold fire and thunder, and seals like the very rules themselves. The night gave me black eyes, but that fire will burn the night, that thunder will illuminate it, and those seals will shatter its laws. With my eyes, I will behold the light. Wang murmured, his voice echoing across the vast sea and heavens filled with the remnant night divine art. It reached the hearts of the green demon emissary, Zhang Daozong, Elder Zhao, and the 2 women's essence spirits. This voice, once like a Daoist scripture of old, was now Wang own belief. Wang opened his eyes, and at that instant, the blazing sun at the horizon erupted with piercing light. That light spread endlessly, carrying Wang's belief, the conviction to drive away darkness and find the light. It was the belief to defy fate itself, to tear apart the night, to bring Li Muan back to life. It was the defiance etched into his very soul. It was his very first divine message art. The blackness covering the sky vanished in an instant. The ocean itself suddenly disappeared. The two women at the early void tribulation stage did not scream in agony. Instead, they smiled, as though touched by Wang Lin's belief. Within the light that tore away the night, they found release, found their light, and faded with peaceful smiles into physical and spiritual annihilation. Elder Zhao's body shuddered, ripped apart, blood and flesh dissolving into the darkness as his essence spirit trembled, struggling within the dispersing night, letting out hoarse roars. He could not accept dying like this. He was a mid-void tribulation stage great venerable. Though he had left an independent avatar on the Green Devil continent, though this true body's death would not erase him entirely, still he could not accept it. But under the weight of this divine message art, his struggle did not last. Soon, a faint smile appeared. Eyes closed, he too dissipated. As for Zhang Daozong, whose cultivation slightly surpassed Elder Zhao's, his physical body collapsed, his essence spirit letting out a shrill scream as he retreated rapidly, spitting out a jade pendant hidden within his essence spirit and holding it before him. The pendant glowed softly, shielding him for a moment before shattering. Despair filled Zhang Daozong's eyes. He had never cultivated any avatars, relying solely on his own single breath of immortal qi. Now, under Wang Lin's Remnant Night divine message art, his essence spirit began to fade, not destroyed, but condensed into a brilliant beam of light. It shot toward the ninth heaven, fleeing upward. As he ascended, his consciousness dimmed, but under the influence of this the sound of shattering mirrors echoed, as the four green demon emissaries' green devil mirrors, which had manifested around their bodies, suddenly collapsed. The projection of the green devil continent immediately shattered. The earth trembled, and everything returned to its original state, still the extreme heaven grasslands. The four green demon emissaries spat out blood, their bodies rolling back quickly. As they retreated, Wang Lin, dressed in black armor, stepped out from the earth. His white hair fluttered in the wind, and a terrifying aura surrounded him. Alone, how tragic. As the scene dispersed, the four of them each cast different divine powers. Two of them took out treasures, a green paper crane and a white dust whisk. These two stepped onto their treasures, accelerating at full speed as they rushed away. The other two green demon emissaries bit their tongues, spitting blood, and emitted dazzling green light, which merged with the blood, instantly covering a vast distance. The last green demon emissary formed seals with both hands, spinning rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, transformed into a hurricane that seemed to connect with the heavens and earth. With extreme speed, it howled and fled toward the distance. Though their methods were different, the speed of the four was the same. Nearly the moment Wang Lin emerged from the earth, they had vanished without a trace. But Wang Lin would not let them escape. He still had the 3 tasks proposed by the Azure Ox Patriarch to complete, and they must be fulfilled with these 4. He raised his head, his eyes flashing coldly, and took a step toward the east. Ripples swirled beneath his feet, and his figure vanished in an instant. When he reappeared, it was in front of the green demon emissary who had transformed into a hurricane. As the ripples flickered, Wang Lin, in the moment he revealed himself, raised his right hand and struck back with a thunderous force. With a booming crash, Wang Lin's palm was replaced by thunder, emitting blinding lightning, which transformed into a massive thunderball. Lightning threads spread across its edges, creating an awe-inspiring sight. The thunderball shot forward at incredible speed and collided with the green demon emissary, who had become a hurricane. The heavens and earth rumbled as the thunder collapsed upon the hurricane. Countless lightning bolts formed a massive net, destroying the hurricane while trapping the terrified green demon emissary inside. The crackling sound of the lightning was relentless as the green demon emissary spewed blood and screamed in agony. His body was completely ensnared by the thunderous net, pressing rapidly towards the ground. From a distance, the sight was astonishing, as the thunder net resembled a spider's web, wrapping around the green demon emissary and pinning him to the earth in an instant, sealing him completely. As the thunder net was released by Wang Lin, his body suddenly trembled imperceptibly, and his aura visibly weakened. Wang Lin vaguely understood this as a sign that the time limit for his soul armor was coming to an end. With the green demon emissary sealed in the thunder net, struggling but unable to break free. Wang Lin, with his void tribulation initial stage cultivation, had fused the thunder origin and seal origin to create this binding net. Without hesitation, he took another step westward. His figure disappeared in a flash. To the west of the extreme heaven grasslands, another green demon emissary, pale and filled with dread, sat cross-legged on the paper crane. At that moment, he unleashed all his speed and fled desperately. From his perspective, what had just transpired was utterly terrifying. They had come here to carry out the Patriarch's order to kill Wang Lin. Even though there had been an unexpected turn of events, Wang Lin had obtained the Heavenly Bull soul armor. He remained resolute, not overly fearful. After all, he understood that the recognition of the Heavenly Bull and the soul armor had a time limit. But when he saw Wang Lin perform the divine message art, he suddenly realized this person was far from simple. The divine message art can only be used by the grand heavenly venerable. He can use it too. This is serious. I must escape and report to the Patriarch. As this thought crossed his mind, his pupils contracted in shock, and before him, the space rippled. Wang Lin, clad in black armor, stepped out. Stay! Wang Lin's eyes flashed coldly. In the moment of his appearance, he raised his right hand. 8 sources of power materialized as 8 blurry lines in his palm, quickly condensing into a small ball the size of a fist. This was a result of his cultivation being enhanced by the soul armor to the void tribulation initial stage. With his powerful cultivation, he forcibly condensed the origin and hurled the ball toward the green demon emissary. The green demon emissary on the paper crane's face changed dramatically. He immediately formed seals with both hands and pressed them towards the sky. Green demon possession. His voice was sharp, filled with overwhelming terror. As his words echoed, a vast green light erupted from his body, enveloping him completely, and with that, he collided with the origin ball with a thunderous roar. Wang Lin's body lurched forward. The blood sword in his hand gleamed scarlet, fusing with the power of his early void tribulation stage cultivation. In that instant, it transformed into a heaven-shaking blood arc and cleaved downward. The deafening crash echoed as the heavenly bull envoy's body erupted. Green light shattered across his frame, and from the center of his brow a blood-red line split open, cleaving him cleanly in two. Even his essence spirit was severed, perishing instantly. The blood sword trembled violently in Wang Lin's grasp. With that strike, it absorbed a portion of the envoy's blood, releasing a piercing sword cry. It had slain countless immortals before, but ever since it had fallen into Wang Lin's possession, this was the highest level cultivator it had killed. At the moment of the envoy's death, a heavenly bull soul manifested outside Wang Lin's body. Throwing back its head, it let out an ecstatic roar, as though Wang Lin's kill was an event of great joy for it. As the heavenly bull's soul howled, it suddenly inhaled toward the envoy's corpse. A wisp of green mist emerged, forming into the struggling shape of a scorpion. With a pull, the bull drew it in and swallowed it whole. Wang Lin froze for an instant, but his steps did not falter. His figure flickered, vanishing without pause. To the north, the second heavenly bull envoy, coughing blood as he used the blood escape technique, fled in desperation. More blood spewed from his mouth as he ran, his speed soaring until he was little more than a fading afterimage that vanished from sight. When Wang Lin appeared, he caught only a glimpse of that phantom silhouette before it disappeared. By the time he turned, the man was nothing more than a distant green speck, growing faint on the horizon. But the aura of void tribulation around Wang Lin's body was now unstable, threatening to collapse, as though about to fall back into the stage of profound tribulation. His eyes flashed coldly. Fixing on the direction of the third envoy's escape, Wang Lin raised his right hand and pointed sharply. Freeze! A low growl erupted from his throat. At that word, the heavens dimmed. A strange power surged forth, freezing the world in place. Even the fleeing envoy, who had already reached a great distance, was caught and locked in midair. His body shuddered violently, stopping dead. In that instant, the blood sword screamed through the air and pierced him with an explosive crash. The envoy's body shattered, while the heavenly bull soul outside Wang Lin's body greedily inhaled, devouring the green mist that seeped from the corpse. sealing one and slaughtering two more. Wang Lin's aura plummeted. His cultivation fell to resemble only a few cycles into profound tribulation. He turned his gaze southward, toward where the last heavenly bull envoy had fled. After a long silence, he chose not to pursue, but instead wheeled about and rushed toward the first envoy sealed within thunder. Moments later, from that thunderbound location came the frenzied roar of the heavenly bull. It had now consumed the green mist left behind by three fallen envoys, nourishment of immense value to it. The blood sword, too, had grown darker in hue. After slaying three mid-void tribulation stage envoys, its blade now glowed with an even deeper crimson. Ancient runes began surfacing faintly on its surface, runes not belonging to cultivators, but to the ancient clans themselves. On the earth below, Wang Lin's white hair whipped in the wind. His cultivation fell again, this time to the mid-profound void stage. Weariness flickered across his face. Stepping forward, his body melted into the ground, plunging toward the depths of the underground palace. As he raced downward, his cultivation dipped once more to the early profound void stage. By the time he stepped into the palace, his power fully reverted to its normal state, late ethereal stage. The heavenly ox soul armor melted from his body, unraveling into countless black threads that coiled around him before condensing into a black bowl-shaped totem on the right side of his face. The totem pulsed faintly, giving Wang Lin a sinister, eerie presence. The moment he entered the underground palace, weakness surged within him, as though his cultivation had been stripped away, leaving him no stronger than a mortal. Over 1,000 cultivators, including Yin Luan, stared at him with grave concern. None of them had seen what transpired outside. All they could do was wait, anxious for the outcome. 6 mid-void tribulation fiends, 2 escaped, 3 dead, Wang Lin said quietly. He made no mention of Elder Zhao, uncertain whether that old man had used a clone, for Zhao's death had not come at Wang Lin's hand. 2 great venerables of early void tribulation, slain. Beyond them, every green devil cultivator on the extreme heaven grasslands has met physical and spiritual annihilation. After speaking these 3 lines, his face turned deathly pale. His body swayed as he coughed up a mouthful of blood, then streaked away in a rainbow arc toward his cave mansion. There, he summoned EC, sealed the abode with layers of restrictions, and sat cross-legged within, blood spilling from he paid no attention to the cultivators outside the cave mansion. Because of those 3 words he had spoken, they became as silent and lifeless as the dead. One by one, the cultivators kept quiet, their gazes fixed on Wang Lin's cave mansion, eyes filled with awe and shock. Heavenly Ox soul armor, so powerful. So this is the soul armor. There was no uproar, only silence. Slowly, the crowd dispersed. Yin Luan and the others also remained silent, their eyes complicated as they looked toward Wang Lin's cave mansion. Then, they each returned to their palaces to begin seclusion and healing, for in the earlier battle, they too had suffered injuries. Time slipped by. 7 days passed. Recalling the 3 sentences Wang Lin had spoken before entering seclusion, everyone who had witnessed the overwhelming destruction, the collapse of the grasslands, the fissures splitting the earth, felt a deep chill. Scene after scene confirmed the undeniable truth of Wang Lin's words. Adding to this, the entire extreme heaven grasslands now seemed devoid of any green devil continent cultivators. Other than those who had escaped, not a single one remained. Wang Lin's words reverberated all the more in their hearts. Yin Luan descended to the ground, her eyes carrying a deep wariness as she scanned the land around her. Her cultivation was profound, allowing her to see details others missed. In her eyes, the entire expanse of the extreme heaven grasslands was like an enormous handprint. Yet because they were standing within it, it was easy to overlook. 7 days ago, this place endured a massacre of unimaginable scale, Yin Luan murmured. Su Dongda stood at her side, his gaze complicated as it swept the surroundings. This Elder Wang, one day he will soar to the heavens. I fear it won't be many years before the 2 of us, should we meet him, will need to bow in respect. Su Dongda sighed heavily. 7 days later, half a month passed. Nearly a full month had gone by since that slaughter. During this time, Some cultivators dispersed, flying to the far ends of the extreme heaven grasslands, searching for signs of survivors from the Green Devil continent. In the end, they found nothing. Everything unfolded exactly as Wang Lin had foretold. Every Green Devil continent cultivator here, save for the few who had fled, was dead. The war on the Heavenly Bull continent still raged. Yet here in the extreme heaven grasslands, a rare calm had settled. With no new orders from the Great Soul sect or the Unity sect, the cultivators could not leave. Their duty was to guard the third celestial bull lair beneath the earth. Though the days were monotonous, things became more lively when a cultivator discovered a damaged artifact in the grasslands. Soon, more and more cultivators left the underground palace to search for treasures and relics left behind by the fallen Green Devil continent cultivators. Most of these, however, had been destroyed under Wang Lin's divine powers. What little remained was mostly ruined. Yet a few items still retained some value, even if incomplete. For the cultivators, this life was a welcome change. There was no killing, no death. Having fought side by side, even strangers now felt a sense of familiarity. But the atmosphere shifted the moment they returned to the underground palace. Every cultivator who came back fell silent, their gazes now and then filled with reverence as they looked toward an otherwise ordinary cave mansion, the one where Wang Lin remained in seclusion. Even Yin Luan and the others were no exception. All remained quiet within the underground palace, as though afraid their noise might disturb Wang Lin's cultivation. That battle, those 3 words, Wang Lin had won their heartfelt respect and fear. Time slipped by once more. A month, 2 months, 3 months. In 3 months, the cultivators of the underground palace had scoured nearly every corner of the extreme heaven grasslands, leaving nothing untouched. Yet Wang Lin remained in seclusion, never once stepping outside. Until one day, 3 months later, within the underground palace, several hundred cultivators gathered on the surface, chatting and laughing. They had formed a small marketplace, trading discoveries from the grasslands and exchanging goods. Suddenly, the sky shifted, clouds roiled, and a deafening rumble echoed from afar. The sudden change shocked everyone. In an instant, all several hundred cultivators stood up, the ease of the past 3 months vanishing, replaced by solemn expressions. That low, thunderous roar was not from the extreme heaven grasslands. It came from far beyond, rumbling across unfathomable distances. By the time it reached here, the heavens and earth dimmed faintly. The roar swept overhead, carrying with it a bloody, murderous aura. Though invisible, everyone could feel it as it howled through the hundreds of cultivators on the ground stood frozen, bewildered by what was happening. They could not understand the reason behind the ever-expanding roar. In the haze of confusion, a few among them vaguely glimpsed a vision. Within the changing skies and spreading thunderous echoes, a heavenly ox appeared, its body drenched in blood, letting out a heart-wrenching bellow. That roar, echoing across the land, was none other than the cry of the heavenly ox. The reason it continued to spread was as if the beast itself was fleeing in agony, its pain seeping into heaven and earth. Yet, fewer than a few dozen cultivators truly caught that fleeting image. Among the hundreds present, silence fell heavily, each lost in their own thoughts. As the roar swept outward, it enveloped the entire extreme heaven grasslands. Deep within the underground palace, hundreds of cultivators who had remained in seclusion abruptly opened their eyes. Shock flashing across their faces, they flew out from their cave mansions one after another, rising into the skies only to freeze, staring upward in disbelief. Yin Luan and the others, faces shifting with alarm, also rushed from the palace. After a brief glance at Wang Lin's secluded cave mansion, they quickly ascended to the surface. Thus, only Wang Lin remained within the underground palace. For 3 months, he had sat unmoving in meditation, suppressing the wounds inflicted during the battles on the extreme heaven grasslands. Now, at last, he had calmed enough to begin true healing. During this time, Wang Lin had not only attuned himself to the soul armor, but also digested the insights he gained when it temporarily elevated his cultivation. These realizations were invaluable memories, treasures he intended to engrave into himself, for they would greatly benefit his future growth. He also delved deeper into his Remnant Night technique. Yet without donning the soul armor, the technique was no longer the divine message art it once was. At the instant the heavens roared above the extreme heaven grasslands, Wang Lin's 3-month seclusion was violently shattered. A searing pain pierced his soul, spreading through his entire body. Cold sweat poured down his back as he snapped awake. On the right side of his face, the totem formed by the Tianyo soul seemed to ignite. Heat seared his flesh while waves of sorrow and fury surged through him, emotions that clearly belonged to the heavenly ox soul itself. Wang Lin's heart trembled. The muffled roar outside pounded into his mind. When he opened his eyes and gazed toward the skies above his cave mansion, his vision blurred, and within that thunderous cry, scenes unfolded before him. He saw a boundless mountain range on the heavenly bull continent. Upon its ridges, thousands of cultivators had battled relentlessly for months, dying one after another until fewer than 100 remained. Among them stood a single man clad in pitch-black armor, radiating the same heavenly bull soul aura Wang Lin knew so well. This man, like Wang Lin, had been acknowledged by the heavenly ox, guardian of one of the 7 caves of the heavenly bull. Wang Lin watched as, after countless desperate clashes, the armored cultivator was struck by a colossal crimson hand descending from the sky. 9 crushing blows shattered his armor, obliterating his body and bringing about physical and spiritual annihilation. The crimson hand then shifted, becoming a red-haired elder with a face as dark as storm clouds. Suspended in midair, he exuded the majesty of a supreme being, while countless cultivators of the Green Devil continent bowed in reverence below. Though the vision carried no sound or aura, the scene of that elder destroying a cultivator clad in soul armor left no doubt. His cultivation was terrifying beyond measure. With the man's death, the entire mountain range collapsed. Endless debris surged upward before sinking, leaving behind only a massive death-scarred crater. At that very moment, the 7 caves of the heavenly bull began to open one after another, their combined barrier fracturing and leaving a gaping flaw. Wang Lin's vision dimmed, and he returned to himself in silence. He knew that what he had just witnessed could not be seen by others. Only those bearing the heavenly ox soul armor could perceive it. One of the 7 caves of the heavenly bull had fallen. Hours later, the roar finally faded into the distance. Yet this sudden upheaval left every cultivator across the extreme heaven grasslands uneasy. Speculations spread like wildfire, all pointing to the same ominous truth. A great catastrophe was approaching. In the following 2 months, the atmosphere grew heavier. Twice more the heavens trembled, and twice more the mournful cries of the heavenly ox echoed. Each roar pressed down on the hearts of the cultivators, doubling the weight of their dread. Then, on the 7th day of the 2nd month, a streak of rainbow light tore across the sky, rushing from the heavenly bull continent toward the underground palace. It condensed into the form of a disheveled old man dressed in black robes. He was no member of the Great Soul sect. He came from the Unity sect. Extreme heaven grasslands, 3rd celestial bull lair. Hear my decree, the elder bellowed. By order of the Unity sect and the Great Soul sect, through the Soul Unity decree, you are commanded to withdraw immediately. Retreat 1,000,000 li and regroup at Tianwan Mountain. There, our comrades will await you. Obey at once. 3rd celestial bull lair, bearer of the soul armor, this old man, Ouyang Zhun, seeks urgent audience. The elder stood in the sky, his expression marked by urgency, yet he still carried himself with respect, for anyone who possessed the soul armor was owed reverence. At the very instant he clasped his fists and bowed, deep within the underground palace, Wang Lin's eyes snapped open. In a blur, his figure vanished without a trace, only to reappear in midair, facing the elder. The moment Ouyang Zhun laid eyes on Wang Lin, he froze. He had clearly not expected the bearer of the soul armor here to be someone of such cultivation. Still, he dared not underestimate him. After all, to guard this place was proof enough that this man was far from ordinary. The 1st, 2nd, and 7th caves of the Heavenly Bull have been destroyed by the Green Devil continent. The 3 soul armor bearers have perished, their Daoist extinguished. Ouyang comes by order to deliver this message. The bearer of the soul armor of the 3rd layer must travel via the teleportation array to the Unity sect and carry out a mission of utmost